It's an everyday thing, it's an everyday thing, it's an everyday thing when you let your nuts hang.
For anybody who was trying to just enjoy your Saturday, just kidding, can't do that under the Trump regime. It has been announced that Dominion Voting, yes, that Dominion, has now been acquired by someone who is a Trump loyalist. So I'm going to need your attention. So go get some coffee, come on back, because it's going to take a couple minutes to walk through it. But boy, does everybody need to understand what just changed. It was purchased by someone named Scott Leyendecker, and he is a former GOP elections official from St. Louis, obviously Trump aligned. So they're now going to be calling it Liberty Vote. As a condition of the sale, of course the details were not disclosed, the lawsuits against Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, and their OAN, their little wish version of Fox News, those all had to be closed out and settled. It's important to note here that Dominion, now Liberty, doesn't just own the actual voting machines, they own the systems that count the votes, the ones that go on to become certified. How it works is that voters go in and they either fill out like a paper ballot or they use a digital system called, I think it's called like ImageCast, right? And they can cast their vote. And that prints out like a paper ticket, okay? Then the voter takes that paper ticket so that they can verify it and they drop it into an optical reader which tabulates, right? Based on what's written, it tabulates the vote. And then all of that information is fed into a central election management system. So the individual sites are disconnected from a main server to prevent hacking. Okay, so it's all on like a little disk drive or whatever. And then that is all fed up to that election management system. Then that hub totals all the votes across the various counties so that you can reach a statewide total. Of course, Dominion does not have every single voting machine, but they will now own about 50 to 60%. That software aggregates votes across like 27 states, covering roughly 70 to 100 million votes in the 2024 election. And now Liberty Vote owns all of it. Here's where the real dirty crap happens, okay? When things like Dominion change hands, there's no automatic federal recertification. That is a real problem because the certification that happened before, when it was owned by Dominion, just gets transferred to the new owner, Liberty Vote. Again, a Trump-aligned GOP. And that means that the new leadership could push software updates or whatever they want without a fresh audit. You guys read between the lines. And security assurances from the former certification may not hold because now you have new people who have access to the software. And of course, this is very dangerous because people assume that everything has been independently checked, but it hasn't. And in other critical infrastructures like power grids, defense, telecom. All right, guys, on today's episode of Survivor American Citizen Edition, if you saw the video that I did, I think it was 2 days ago, and it basically says like Dominion was just purchased by a Trump loyalist. If you didn't see it, go watch it because it'll make sense why this video is such a big deal. A short version though, the man's name is Scott Leyendecker. He's a former GOP official and of course Trump ally, aka he's in Trump's pocket. And he purchased what was Dominion Voting, yes, that Dominion Voting, and rebranded it to Liberty Vote. Also, bonus round, they don't have to go through federal recertification, meaning they can do pretty much whatever they want with the software on the back end. Anyways, go watch that video. Today's batch of crazy, I didn't want to address it in that video because it's just like too much to handle emotionally all in one smack. So that same person, Scott Leyendecker, he also owns a company called No Ink. And they are basically like, you know, when you go to vote and you hand them your ID and they kind of scan it and they're like, oh yeah, everything's checked out. You go to vote. He owns those machines too. Don't worry. I'm going to unpack the crazy for you. And when you couple that with the fact that Trump keeps always saying about how he doesn't want us to have paper ballots anymore, but Scott Leyendecker says, oh no, I'm a neutral party and I push for paper ballots and full transparency. Well, of course you do, big guy, because, and again, this goes to the video from the other day, those ballots, even the ones that are like that you vote at home and you drop off at the polling location, guess whose machines tabulate those votes? You guys figure it out. It's his machines. Why is it a problem that he owns these things where you check in? Always easier to demonstrate something with an example. Let's say Alice in Georgia, a Democrat in a very red area, she goes to vote. She walks up to the poll. She hands the poll worker her ID. They scan it through one of Scott Leyendecker's machines from No Ink, and they go, oh yeah, sorry, there's something wrong with your vote. You're either not registered or your address is wrong. Whatever the case is, you can't vote today. Just to protect myself legally. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen with these machines, but I'm just saying it's a possibility. And when you give people like that access to that much power, it could happen.
So pretty much all this is saying is, there could be some voter fraud. Potentially what Donald Trump has been screaming for the past umpteen years. Listen, I'm not 100% on board with this. I really don't know. The people who owned the machines before were probably they probably weren't Trump supporters, which is the reason why he wanted to get them out of the hands of that company. Somebody bought it for a sweet deal. Apparently, all I gotta say is follow the money. Only on situations like this, when things just look too suspicious, that a company owns these voting machines, there's nothing wrong with it. One person wins, complains about the voting machines being, scams, and we don't check the voting machines. Then they put it into another hand with a person that openly supports the candidate who is now winning, so to speak. So then what have you? So now it's like, oh, okay, he's on our side. He's totally going to tell the truth now. I don't think if the truth wasn't being told then, that the truth will be told now. I don't think if the count wasn't right then, it definitely ain't gonna be right now, because now you have somebody who's loyal to your cause. So now, what do we do about this? Like in all these situations, as far as the first situation, the first video that I played, and now this video, we hear this information. Nothing's gonna be done about these situations. Okay, like there's not gonna be anybody trying to block the sale of, or they can't block it, the sale of this company Dominion which is now Liberty. Nobody's, what was it?
I'm Christina Owayo in Dallas, and here are your top stories. Democrats are allegedly demanding the removal of Dominion voting machines after a Republican investor purchased the company and rebranded it as Liberty Voting. Dominion Voting Systems is the company once hailed by the left as a pillar of election security. Scott Leyendecker, a former Republican elections director from St. Louis, Missouri, and the founder of the election tech firm Know Inc., has taken full control. Leyendecker, with over 25 years of experience in election administration, outlined Liberty Vote's mission to, quote, deliver secure, simple technology that puts voters first. The new entity vows 100% American ownership, domestic staffing, and software development. They are also making a firm commitment to hand-marked paper ballots, lining up with President Trump's executive order on election integrity. The undisclosed transaction was confirmed by Dominion's outgoing CEO, John Poulos, in a statement. Liberty Vote will conduct a top-to-bottom review of existing equipment ahead of the 2026 midterms, rebuilding or retiring machines as needed to meet rigorous standards. Third-party audits will become routine, closing loopholes that skeptics, including many conservatives, have flagged for years. That's what you need to know in Dallas.
So yeah, that explained it, because is it going to be a third-party audit with these voting machines? Absolutely, and they should be able to go randomly check the machines if they want to. I don't think that. I think there should be some oversight, regardless of, they said the Dominion was a heavily liberal favorite, I guess, whatever the Democratic Party wanted to keep Dominion in, and now they're throwing a fit because Dominion's out. If anything, I think Dominion would be, it worked perfectly fine, right? Because Trump got elected twice, right? So did it work or did it not work? I'm trying to figure that out. Help me understand. If Trump got elected twice, how did the machines not work? It is what it is. But yeah, they do need a forensic analysis on every machine, an audit. Not every machine, but an audit. Random machines, making sure the counter's right, making sure it's scanning in names right. 100% accuracy is what they need.
Hey, Anthony,
Yeah,
what do you think about the change in ownership of Dominion voting machines?
I think it's really scary that the second largest producer of voting machines in the United States has been bought out by a former GOP official, especially in wake of all of the changes that the Trump administration is trying to make to election integrity.
What does this mean for voting integrity?
Well, I think we only need to look to Trump's executive order on elections to see that. Because the GOP official who has bought Dominion voting systems and renamed it Liberty Vote, of course, has said that he plans on following the rules set forth by Trump's executive order on elections when he is making decisions for this company. And these are rules that have already been declared illegal by multiple courts because they are intended to disenfranchise minority voters, voters of color, and to cause intimidation in election places. Rules like requiring paper ballots, which doesn't sound that bad up top, but when you consider that states like California and Georgia have the majority of voting done by paper ballots, when you consider that our service members that are deployed in other countries do voting by paper ballots, and anybody who is disabled or working a hard job where they may not feel they have time to take off time to vote, those are people that are also likely to vote by paper ballots. So it's designed to disenfranchise all of those people. They're also talking about things like requiring proof of citizenship to register, which plants the idea that we have this huge problem with undocumented immigrants voting in our elections when in fact it basically never happens. The incidences of it occurring are near zero. And they're doing things like requiring actual paper ballots to be used to cast votes. And that goes to the fact that Dominion Voting Systems is the company that was sued by the Trump administration in 2020 for supposedly rigging the election for Biden to win. And Dominion voting machines work by basically voting via a touchscreen, and then the machine prints out a paper ballot to be scanned by QR code, and then the votes are tallied that way. Although, of course, the paper record is also kept and heavily scrutinized. And, they want to take that away, too, to just add another step of complexity to voting and make it harder for people to do. So when you combine that with the other things that I think we can expect in the upcoming elections, such as voter intimidation at ballot places, further attempts at gerrymandering, and doing things like minimizing the amount of polling locations in areas that are not white, I think that there's a real strong indication that the Trump administration does not intend for there to be any more fair and free elections in the U.S., especially since he told his constituents during the election that, vote for me one more time and you won't need to vote again. I think that's what we're seeing right now.
That's a hard stance. Anthony makes great points every day. And I don't know what made me just start watching him. Somebody sent him to me, and I was just like, It's like when Dave Chappelle asked, "Well, what does Ja Rule have to say about this?" This is my Ja Rule. Okay.
Day and night. For some women, it can start working in as fast as 1 week.